Hey guys, today's video is going to be really fun. I'm going to be comparing fresh and saltwater aquariums for you so you guys can kind of decide which would be best for you. There's a lot of things that go into keeping both a salt and freshwater aquarium. Some things you guys may not know, some you might know, but you might just be trying to decide which you would rather have. I'm really excited because today I get to show you some of my favorite fish in my collection, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy them. They're very interesting, very personable little creatures. So let's get to it so I can show you guys them and talk to you a little bit about these aquariums. Alright everybody, so first I want to talk to you about saltwater reef aquariums. So the first thing that you guys need to know about a reef aquarium is that everything in here is living. So from the sand to your live rock to all the corals, everything is alive. So you're going to want to start off with something called a reef-ready aquarium, which just means there's that overflow in the back left corner there. They're in different places for different tanks. But basically that's just encasing all of your plumbing that's going down into your sump. This can be very helpful to have a sump just because there is a lot of equipment that goes into keeping a reef aquarium, and a lot of people don't like seeing it on the back or sides of their tank. So something that shies people away from reef aquariums is definitely the expenses. So there's a lot more equipment that you do need to buy. This setup here, minus the livestock, was probably about $2,500 overall. And depending on what equipment you use, it could be $2,000 to $3,000, I would say. But the initial setup cost is probably the worst of it. Overall, you are going to need to continuously buy salt. But that's about it for continuous purchases, minus the food and any supplementation your water is going to need. So you are going to need your heater. As you can see in back there, I'm using a cobalt heater, probably one of the best that you can get. That heater was about $70, and they're pretty much indestructible. So I'll give you a closer look at the overflow here. Here is a closer look at the plumbing that's going down into the sump area. So this is going down and into the sump, which I will show you in just a moment. Alright guys, so here is the rest of my equipment. As you can see, there's quite a bit down here. Here is where the plumbing is connecting to my overflow and going down into the sump. So what this is doing is it's pushing water down into the sump and then back up into the tank through your main pump. So the first piece of equipment that I really want to talk to you guys about is your protein skimmer. So what this here is doing is it's replicating how the ocean cleans itself by mixing the salt water and oxygen and binding any ammonia and nitrite that happens to be in the water from any fish that you have. So this is very important. It helps to keep your nitrate down. Here I have my thermometer. The temperature is very important in a reef aquarium because if it gets too warm in the tank, the corals can actually dehydrate. So you want to keep it about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Then here I have my auto top off, which is just compensating for evaporation that happens within the aquarium. So you do have to test your water regularly with a reef aquarium. There's many trace elements that the corals actually need to thrive and grow. So you do have to be willing to test your tank water regularly. So I would say overall reef aquariums are very easy, but it has a lot of considerations that you need to think about. This here is the lighting that I use for my reef aquarium. I forgot to talk about lighting during my last clip, so I just kind of want to briefly talk about it a little bit here. This is a Prime HD by Aqua Illuminations. It's probably one of the best brands of lighting that you can get. There's many different brands out there. This one uses very well put together LEDs. and it's very good for coral growth. It values at around $200, so the saltwater aquarium lights can be more expensive than the freshwater, but they have been going down in price. There's many different ways that you can hang them. I chose to hang it from my ceiling, but you can hang it on the back of most aquariums. And as you can see, it does have very nice color. The light actually has its own Wi-Fi, so you can completely customize your color variants as well as the programming of when it comes on and turns off during the day. And it always follows that program, which is very nice about it. And the corals definitely seem to love it. They've been growing very readily, but this is definitely something to consider. I am very excited to introduce to you guys my little dwarf pea pufferfish. I've always had a soft spot for puffers, mainly because they're always so curious and so personable. When I found out that there are freshwater pufferfish, I fell in love with these little guys. I will be doing a video in the future about them and their care, so I'm not going to talk to you guys too much about them, but I'm very happy to have shown them to you guys. Right now I want to talk about freshwater tanks in general. So overall, freshwater tanks are much less costly than saltwater aquariums for your initial setup, mainly because there's a lot less equipment that goes into keeping a freshwater aquarium. So for a freshwater aquarium, you do not need to get a reef-ready tank for your initial startup unless you want to. There's a lot less equipment and it's a lot less of an eyesore to keep it on the back of the aquarium. So I do have a lot of freshwater aquarium plants in here. They're very easy to care for. I mainly just watch them grow and trim them up every once in a while, but unlike corals, you do not need to actually test for the trace elements within the water. So equipment-wise, you do still need your heater. I'm using a fluval heater, which you can also use that brand in a saltwater aquarium, and that heater was only about $40. So for lighting, I just have a simple plant LED strip light, and it was about $80 overall, and it can vary depending on your tank size. The overall maintenance between a fresh and saltwater aquarium is very similar. You do still need to give them a good water change and vacuum their substrate about once a week to once every 3 weeks, depending on what fish you are keeping and the equipment that you have on the aquarium. So for filtration, I'm using a AquaClear 30 on this tank, and I love the AquaClear brand mainly because they have this nice dimmable feature so you can actually slow the water flow. You do need to change your filter media in the filter about once a month. Same thing with a saltwater aquarium. So overall, the main difference I would say is cost. There's not going to be as much continuous costs, and it's going to be a lot less for your initial tank setup. So many things to consider. Alright everybody, well that's it for today. I hope you guys learned a bit about both fresh and saltwater aquariums and are more able to decide which would be best for you. Just figure out what fish you want to keep and how you want to go about doing things. There's so many ways to do it. Just find what you want and do research, research, research. Research the most important thing that you can do to be able to keep whatever fish species you want to keep. As long as you can give it proper care and proper size requirements and everything, then just put your mind to it and do it.